Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates, and it's time now for the High School Notebook. And once again this week, we are very happy to be joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks for hopping on board with us from quarantine heaven.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Hey, let's talk about, speaking of quarantines and everything going on right now, one of the local guys at Yale right now who's doing more than just trying to stay active as a lacrosse player. He's got a lot more on his plate right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, so former Palmyra-Masson lacrosse player Ben Reeves, he won the Heisman of Collegiate Lacrosse, the Tewaaraton Award, while at Yale in 2018 for his undergrad after leading the nation in points that season and also leading the Elis to a national championship that year. So he now plays in the Premier Lacrosse League. Reeves is currently helping out in coronavirus times that we're in, you mentioned a second ago, in two distinct ways, two important ways, two very impressive ways. One way is a more hands-on approach as a first-year medical student at his undergrad alma mater, Yale, so he is back at Yale right now. And then secondly, alongside fellow Premier Lacrosse League player and first-year Yale medical student Tyler Warner, they are heading a social media challenge for the PLL called the Stay at Home Trick Shot Challenge. So Ben is a busy man right now. He's getting kids involved because they're home a lot more now. So it's really good to see kind of bringing in everybody and also helping on the front lines, per se, when it comes to the actual virus, the medical side.
All right, let's turn our attention now to women's lacrosse in Syracuse and a local athlete who has made the decision to stay put for another year.
Yeah, so on March 30th, the NCAA Division I Council passed a vote to award all spring sports athletes, so student athletes who saw their 2020 season cut significantly short due to the pandemic, an extra year of eligibility. Seniors or otherwise, it's a senior case here. Then within the last week, Victor High School product and Syracuse University women's lacrosse star Emily Hawryshuk, she gave the lacrosse world, that college lacrosse world, some much-needed good news at a time like this when she announced she would be taking the NCAA up on that offer and returning for a fifth season in Orange. The All-American, she ranked second in the country in goals this past season, total goals and goal-scoring average with 39 goals in, get this, just 8 games. Absolutely absurd. She had 7 in a couple games. And then against some ranked teams, she had 6 goals against ranked Northwestern and 5 goals against ranked Maryland. Maybe the best player in the country. She's from here. She's from the Rochester area, and she's going back for one more year. Let's see if they can really turn that into maybe a national championship, but definitely a lot of success one more season around in the career of Emily Hawryshuk.
Now, obviously, Syracuse men's lacrosse has such a great reputation. Women's lacrosse, not really as well renowned.
Absolutely, and they were top 5. I believe they were 4th to end the season in the coaches poll, the main poll going out there in women's college lacrosse. So that's a big deal because, like you said, they're known for obviously the men's side of the thing a little bit more, but under Hawryshuk, they really saw a rise and maybe their best little span of seasons in a very long time in the career of that program.
All right, Matt, let's talk now about some hoops and a guy who from Rochester who had, his season as everybody else cut short, but things were looking good for Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, so keeping up with that deserving Thomas Bryant trend of this episode, Thomas was having by far his best season of his young NBA career when he came down with a right foot injury on December 1st. So despite limited minutes in his first game back on January 12th after missing those 6 weeks because of that stress reaction in that right foot, the team weaned him back into minutes to prevent further injury. Makes sense. And he impressed versus the defending NBA Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert, had 8 points in just 15 minutes of play. He had 20 games before that hiatus came with the NBA suspending play due to the pandemic and after the hiatus of the injury. So he scored in double figures 11 times over those 20 games. That's 3 double-doubles, which shows he's ready to bang on the blocks, and that foot seems to be a lot better. The best performance arguably being 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. 6 assists big for a big man, almost a triple-double there. And that was versus the NBA leading Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo being out in that game or not, still very impressive. It is good to see him back healthy.
All right. Great stuff, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us once again this week, and we'll probably see you back here again very soon. And we will be back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this.